Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets for the next 30 days from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1.99 versus the regular price of $3.49 for a total savings of $1.50. Prices are already discounted across the board and no coupon is required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts menu, and lock them in for 30 days across all sports for only $1.99.
Welcome in, guys, and welcome back right here to Wager Talk TV. It is opening day in the MLB, but is also a big night in the NHL, so we'll keep our focus on the ice, guys, and on the pucks here. And I'll start by introducing my co-host, Carmine Bianco. What's up, Carm?
I hear a word he's saying.
I can hear Andrew. Andrew, all's good. You'll see that I am wearing the Buffalo Sabres jersey today. They broke the 18-game win streak, and on a night where the Sabres won a game, I lost a game. I had Minnesota last night against San Jose. While the score line was close throughout, it really wasn't close throughout. The Sharks really outplayed them, gave them nothing through the neutral zone. Played a fantastic game, and the Wild went down in defeat. We'll see what they do tonight against Vegas, another team smarting from a loss yesterday as well.
I had the Wild as well, Carm, and I thought it was a great spot for them. They just didn't seem as in it as we both expected them to be, but I'm sure they will bounce back. Mr. Bryan Leonard, can you hear me now? Check 1, check 2. Do you have me? I think we're having a little bit of technical issues here with Bryan
Leonard.
He's just so excited.
We'll get him back in shortly.
I can't hear a thing.
I think Brian's just in such excitement for the MLB season. He's just in a shock for a couple seconds. The MLB opening day is here, and it has arrived. Should we go back, Chris, to Bryan? All right, we'll keep going here, guys. We'll break down these games. We'll get right into it, Carm. We'll jump into the games we are discussing on tonight's slate. We're going to talk about Caps, Islanders, Pens and Bruins, Hurricanes, Hawks, Wild and Golden Knights, and the Habs and Sens. And thank God Carm picked that game, as I am itching to talk some more Montreal Canadiens hockey. Carm, let's get into our first game here, the face-off game, Capitals and Islanders, man. Capitals coming off that loss against the Rangers. It wasn't even just a minimal loss either. It was a lopsided loss. It was a marginal loss. And they're in bounce-back mode here. They're actually plus 100 against the Islanders, who have fared pretty well in this division here recently.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm shocked by the price at all. I think the Isles, while the Caps are one of the best teams in the league, and especially the way they're playing right now, this is a game where the Isles should be favored. Isles have played well throughout the season. Caps lead the season series so far. I think all 3 games were played. If I'm correct, all 3 games were played in Washington. So I think this is the first one that's being played in New York. But with that said, I'm taking a different approach to this game. I'm not going side, Andrew. I've been looking at totals with regards to the Isles, and that under on the road came in again with the Isles in Pittsburgh. So that's now 16-4 Isle unders on the road. That's a huge winning angle. Anytime you can hit 80% with an angle, you've always got to take it. At home, it's a completely different story. Their overs seem to hit a lot more often, and with a Caps squad that is probably smarting off of that 5-2 loss against the Rangers in New York, and that was on the heels of a very good homestand where they were scoring goals by the bunches. I'm just going to go to the over here, see if the Caps can sort of enforce their will on the Isles, and I'm going to look to go over the total here. It's even money, I believe, 5.5 even money. So that's the route I'm going to go on this one.
Yeah, well, Carm, it's unbelievable to me that so many games have been adjusted towards the 5.5s, and I think you look at the Washington Capitals, and if you could tell me, I know the Islanders are a pretty big under team. They have been, I guess, historically over the past several years, always had 5.5s. But Carm, to see this Capitals team at a 5.5, for a total, it should automatically draw our attention. I'm pretty sure you'd agree with that. Looking at the stats here, I have this drawn up here a little bit. Over-under analysis. This is on a full season scale here. Out of all the 5.5s we've seen on the year, Carm, we've seen 135 overs, 146 unders. And especially with these 6.5s have dominated towards the under. 6s closer to even, but a little bit towards the under. Under has played a huge factor, which has drawn these numbers down to 5.5. I'm right there with you. I think that you talk about those splits, and you've been great and really knowledgeable about that, and it's actually helped me in my handicapping as well. But I'm on the over in this game. I think that the Capitals will push the pace. Their bounce back ability after scoring just 2 goals should be pretty strong here. So give me the over as well in this hockey game here. I think Washington comes out fairly strong here, and the Islanders are always a fun team to watch when they get going in some end-to-end action. How about the Pens and the Bruins, Carm? The Penguins, the team that just loves to play mind games with me, if you want to call it that. They're a team that wins the games that they probably shouldn't win, and they don't win the games that maybe you'd expect them to win. But let's talk about this Bruins team for a second, Carm. That game they're coming off last time out, people are saying that the New Jersey Devils were pretty much Bruin killers. They find a way, just like Ottawa with Toronto, they find a way to play competitive games against them. Bruins came back and won 5-4, but you got to think there's some frustration, some exhaustion. Is there momentum to build off that, or is that still a bad thing to struggle so long in that game?
I don't know. It's to be honest with you, if you watch the Bruins games, and I did catch 2 of the 3 games since they came off that break, 2 of their 4 games, I should say, since they came off that 7-day COVID break, and they haven't looked like the giant killers that the Bruins usually are. They struggled and gave it up late against the Islanders, losing in OT. They had to come back to beat the Sabres, and just got by the Sabres in that one. Shut out again by the Devils, and then it wasn't until probably the halfway point of that OT win against this Devils team that they actually looked like the Bruins of old. They were skating a little bit better. Their passes were a little bit better. They just looked better as a team. They looked like they picked up a step. I don't know what's wrong with this team. I don't know if it's that break, but they did look better. But it's still the Devils, and I get it. The Devils have been playing a little bit better of late. They're going to face a completely different beast in the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. This is a team that has scoring throughout their line, and that's why the price is where it is right now at like minus 125. So I want to believe the Bruins at home, a very good team. If you're looking at the totals, the 4 games between these 2 teams, we haven't seen anything go over 5 as of yet. 3-2, 4-1, 4-1, and 2-1. The total here currently sits as it's still sitting at 5.5. I'm still seeing 5.5 minus 120. I've been doing much better with my totals as opposed to my side, so I think I'm going to lean to another total and an under here, Andrew, in this one.
I'm right there with you. Again, back-to-back total plays for both Carm and myself, but I'm interested in your thoughts. I mean, Carm, we talk about pricing all the time, or at least I try and explain and try and discover these prices. And the other day, I think actually might have even been yesterday with Prez on the show, you were like, guys, if this is any other team, we're talking about a team struggling, right? And I, bought into what you were saying. If this is any other team besides the Bruins, we're looking at them as a team that's very inconsistent right now, looking at the previous 10 games for them, previous 15, Carm. Games they're losing aren't always close games. Games they're winning, they're scoring maybe 2 goals, 3 goals. Penguins are being involved in some dominant games here. I mean, from a strictly recency biased standpoint, you'd think the Penguins would be the play, though, don't you think? Short dog?
Yeah, you would think, but the Bruins have a way of playing tough at home against teams like the upper echelon, the Washingtons, the Pittsburghs. I remember the Bruins coming home earlier in the season, not looking good, and those were off a couple games, I think, against New Jersey. And Pittsburgh was coming to town high flying, and I said, this is a great time to fade this Pittsburgh squad and look at the Bruins at home, and the Bruins beat them, I believe, in both games, 3-2 and 4-1 in those games. So my thoughts are the same. This is one of those ones where sometimes you play to your opponent. The the Bruins may have been playing to the level of their opponents with the Sabres and the Devils, and it came back to bite them in the ass. Does that happen tonight? They probably played to the level of Pittsburgh and put in one of their better performances. If you take that angle, then minus 125 is a great way to go, because it's a low price on a Bruins team that notoriously is a very good home team. So with that said, I can't take the Pens tonight. It's going to be the Bruins and the under, but I'm leaning to the under here as the play I would take more than anything else.
And I'm right there with Carm on the under. Before we move on to our next game, also another angle worth mentioning, Carm, when a coach calls out their players. Bruce Cassidy calling out quite a few of his players, calling out David Pastrnak, saying he has to be tougher, has to get into the tougher areas. It's always interesting to see how a star player bounces back after being called out by a coach. Maybe you might not buy into it. Maybe some other people might not buy into it. I certainly believe it kind of puts a spark under them a little bit in their next game and see how they respond, because we know how great he has been. I'll move on here to the Hurricanes and the Hawks. We've talked about this Hawks team. It seems like ad nauseum. Not too much movement. A little bit actually. Minus 180. Current number, minus 165 here for the Hurricanes. Some buyback here with the Blackhawks. Guys starting to rally around this team. The betting markets, the betting public even, are starting to become Blackhawks supporters. If you look at it by unit, Carm, by money made on the money line, this Blackhawks team has made people some money betting on whether it's a short dog or a decent-sized dog, against some of these top-tier teams here. And, to pull the Prez mindset, treat it like a playoff series, find a spot, 1 or 2 or 3 of these games here, and find yourself some plus money here. The Blackhawks have been playing some pretty good hockey.
Yeah, the Hawks kind of redeemed themselves. I told you they were my look-ahead team. They won a couple games, and then they dropped 2 against the Nashville Predators, and had me a little worried there that maybe they weren't going to win 6 of the 8 games or 5 of the 8 games that they were playing. But I think Nashville showed that they're playing some very good hockey. So maybe you take that as a bit of a frame of reference. They did beat this Kane squad 2-1, and there's nothing to say that they can't do it again. I understand Carolina, and I've been high on Carolina as a very good team. There's nothing to say they can't do it again. They shut down they shut them down. They played a very good defensive game, and I said the Hawks. I like the Hawks under in that game. I think I told you guys on that show on Tuesday that the total was 6, and I just thought that's way too high. If the Blackhawks can get back to playing a very good defensive game, that they had not only a chance to win, but that game should stay under the total. And my thoughts haven't changed to this game here. I understand the whole Canes are off a loss. They're probably going to split these 2 games, but there's nothing to say that the Blackhawks can't win another game against the Carolina Hurricanes. So that's the way I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the under again here, and Chicago probably try and steal another one, 3-2, and move on to their next one. I will say, with regards to Bryan Leonard, we're just having some connectivity issues and some audio issues. We're trying to still get him back on for the tail end of the show. But if Bryan is available tomorrow, we will bring him on tomorrow's show as our guest on the show. So, Bryan, if you're listening to this and you can make it tomorrow, the invite is open to you guys. As far as this game goes, let's stick with the look-ahead team, the Chicago Blackhawks, to spring the upset tonight, and this game to stay under the total.
6 straight unders for the Blackhawks, and you talked about it, Carm, and I second your thoughts that I definitely thought that if they were going to be successful down the stretch, they weren't going to be able to only compete in these higher scoring games. They've been successful in these lower scoring games, playing better defense, looking like they're getting some great goaltending. I'm right there with you on this under. And if I'm playing the dog situation here, give me the first period on the Chicago Blackhawks here, Carm. Give the Carolina Hurricanes too much time to get their act together. I feel like, the more time we give them throughout the game, maybe they could right their wrongs. But early in the game, I'm actually taking the opposite approach of what most people would do with a bounce back situation. I'm thinking that Chicago still carries that momentum from game one, and they'll carry that through the first period. So I like the Chicago Blackhawks in the first period as well, but also second that under. The trend is your friend, as some people might say, and I think in this angle right here, it certainly is our friend. The Minnesota Wild take on the Vegas Golden Knights here. This is our dump or chase segment game here, Carmen. I think you and I are holding quite a bit of a grudge right now against the Minnesota Wild. They've made us some money on the year. They've cashed us some tickets, Carm. But right now, we can't be feeling too good about them right now. I got a little bit of a grudge with them right now.
Yes, I've got a grudge with them as well too. But listen, they've been playing well. I don't want to call it laying an egg last night because they were skating. They had their legs. They just got. I didn't look at the final numbers as far as like the Corsi numbers or the Fenn numbers. Like their dangerous chances on goal, I didn't see any. And let's forget about the goals they scored in the third period. For the first two periods, any legitimate scoring chances were non-existent with this team. I thought with Vegas on tap for them, a couple of tough games against Vegas on tap for them, that was an important. Those were important points for them to pick up. They obviously didn't get that, and now they face a Vegas team that might have a bit of a revenge, on their minds here. Because if you remember, Vegas went out on that road trip, and their first two games in Minnesota they lost 2-0 and 4-3. They come off a flat game last night against the Kings. The Kings kind of surprised people. And just before I did a show last night on Sirius Game Day Plays on Sirius XM, we talked about during one of the commercial breaks about the possibility that Vegas game against the LA Kings just seemed like a trap game, that it could be a flat game for the Knights, and they looked flat in that game. I say they bounce back. The Knights are a very good team off a loss. I just think that they're one of the best teams in this division, along with Colorado, and I think they get it done tonight. And you're not laying that big a price. 150 is in the wheelhouse of taking the Golden Knights. Give me Vegas here.
Karma, I'm going to let you take the side there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue this totals train that you and I have been hopping on here for the show today. 6 straight overs for the Minnesota Wild in games where they are the underdog, and it's a great setup situation here with the Vegas Golden Knights off that loss. You mentioned the expression flat spot. I mean, there can't be more of a flat spot really after just dominating that first meeting 4-1, then you lose the next one 4-2. People are asking themselves, how is this happening? How can one team win one game 4-1, follow that up with a performance like that? And I think realistically, Carm, it comes down to the mental aspect of the game, staying motivated, staying focused through a full 60, not taking your opponent lightly. And if people think the players don't get up for certain games more than the others, they're really, really mistaken, because they certainly do. And I'm pretty sure you'd agree with me on that. And now they're playing the Minnesota Wild, the Vegas Golden Knights. And, as far as the standings go, a lot tougher of competition. And a team that's going to come in here with lots of motivation, lots of, frustration. And they're going to be throwing everything that they can at the net. It's unfortunate that you and I both had the Wild last night, but I do feel like they can pay us back with some goals here tonight and get us up and over the total. So as far as the dump or chase segment, honestly, I'm passing. I'm going to actually dump because the Wild are going to be very, very frustrated. I don't like the price. I like the Wild. I like the Knights. I'll lay them regulation potentially, but I don't like that minus 150. So I'm dumping the minus 150, and I'm going with the over in this game here with the Golden Knights and the Wild. I expect plenty of goals in this one here, Carm. Should be an exciting game to watch, man. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, no, it will. I'm sure it will. It's probably the great thing is with these games being spaced apart, you've got like the Caps and Isles early on. You got the Pens and Bruins early, so you can watch either one of those or both of them, and then you get on to the nighttime action, which is good. And as you know, Andrew, for us, it's great. Tomorrow's a holiday here in Canada. It's Good Friday, so I plan on sleeping in before the next Puck Time show. And hopefully Bryan Leonard will join us for that one.
No such thing as a holiday for a handicapper. There's always games going on. But, tonight might be a more fun night because I've got buddies that have days off tomorrow. So I might be doing some sacrifice, and I might be out for a couple pops tonight, we'll call it, Carm. A couple alcoholic beverages, and we'll see what we can get into. But, holiday tomorrow. Some great games on tonight. Great night to be a hockey fan. Of course, guys, it is opening day in the MLB. We do have packages up at the website. You can use that coupon code FIRSTPITCH200 to get $200 off any handicappers entire season in the MLB. I'll also be throwing in my KBO, guys. KBO, Korean baseball, was extraordinary to learn that league last year. I know Carmine during the lockdown was learning plenty of soccer leagues and had some success doing so. So the KBO was definitely the league that I learned and had a lot of fun doing that. So I'm going to toss that in with my MLB plays, guys. Let's get into the Habs and Sens. I've been wanting to discuss this game, so without further ado, we'll get into it. The Habs and Sens, look, this is a team that has played both the Montreal Canadiens, Carm, and the Toronto Maple Leafs tough. Every time that they've met, it's been tough, and I think it's because they see an opportunity to play upset. They see an opportunity to play spoiler. I'm curious what your thoughts here on the total.
Yeah, they've been off for a while now. They haven't played since the 25th, and the total sits at 6. And, the odd thing here is I like the over here. And if you look at the games that these teams have played, there's a lot of low-scoring games, 3-2, 2-1, 3-2, 3-1, 5-4 in OT for the Sens. So there's a lot of unders there, but it's just you have I think it's Philippe, is it not? I think it's Philippe Gustafsson in net tonight. He's 2-0 with a 0.86 goals against average, but those were a couple of wins over the Calgary Flames, who we know were struggling to score. I still don't see he's listed as expected to start tonight. We know Jake Allen is confirmed for the Canadiens. I just see goals in this one. I just think it's the Habs. I hate to always use the term because people will get at me in the chat later on or after it's posted, where I say it seems like the Montreal Canadiens have turned the corner with that win over Edmonton. Edmonton was coming off.
Join the fan base, Carm. Join the fan base, buddy.
Join the fan base. I can't do it. But it was a good game against Vancouver. So they've scored 4 or more in the last couple of games, 5 and 4. I just think this is one of those games where it could fall into one of those 5-2 categories for the Canadiens. I think the Canadiens on the puck line is probably the way to go. I'm going to put my faith in your team one more time, and then I flush them down the toilet if they don't get it done tonight and win by at least a couple of goals. So with that in mind, I'm just going to keep it simple. Habs on the puck line and over the total of 6 here.
Carmen, it was kind of disappointing for me because, I've looked at so many stats through actually the first period over in that game against the Oilers. So it cashed a ticket for me. But on the show, I mentioned that I really did like the full game over in the Habs against Edmonton because historically long layoffs have led to over. But on this season in particular, I looked into the numbers, Carm. 5, 6, 7 days of rest has actually trended more towards the under. So that game's out of the way. I didn't think it would be 4-0 for the Habs if it went under, looking at those numbers and the stats. But I'm with you here in game 2 with them. I do believe the Sens will get on the board here, but I think that I'm going to look at the Montreal Canadiens team total here. Look over 3.5 for the Canadiens team total. Decent price on it, Carm. Take this Senators team completely out of the picture because of the price that we're getting, especially on the side. We could play regulation, but we're seeing so many overtimes, especially with the Montreal Canadiens. Why would I bother playing this Montreal Canadiens team, Carm, in regulation with how many overtime games they have, especially how many overtime losses they have? But I do like this team tonight. I'll go with Montreal team total over 3.5. And, I think quotes from the locker room are important. I always mention that. I could read some, but I don't want to take up everybody's time by, reading paragraphs live on a show. But it seems to me right now that not just line 1, not just line 2, but all the way to line 4, the quotes are really promising. And the funny thing is as much as I love the over, it seems like they're all very, very passionate right now about playing good defensive hockey, protecting the leads that they have, and taking every team seriously. So you go from playing an Edmonton team to now playing a bottom feeder, Carm. We'll see if they can keep focused, but you and I are both here on the over 6. Carm with a lean to the puck line here for the Habs, giving them one more shot before he flushes them down the toilet, he says. But I lean to the over 3.5 on the team total for the Montreal Canadiens. Once again, guys, we will have Bryan Leonard on tomorrow. I do feel bad we couldn't get him on. I'm not quite sure. The world of technology is what it is, and it's great when it works, and it's really, really annoying when it doesn't. So Carm, like Carm said, we'll get him back on tomorrow. But Carm, what do you have up for today, man, at WagerTalk.com? It's a big day. It's Thursday. It's always exciting heading into the weekend. And I don't know if you saw me, but I popped in and watched your show today, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, I did. We did the stoppage time show and covered 4 huge games that are happening this weekend in domestic league soccer across England, France, and Germany. NHL plays will be up soon. I wanted to get through both the shows first, but before I put them up, I do have an MLB play as well too, Andrew. And no soccer today or likely tomorrow because the international break just ended. I usually like to see who's coming back, the injuries of any players that played for their countries, and just to make sure that the lineups for the teams are where they should be. As far as the show best bet, I am going to go to a game we didn't discuss, and I'm going to go to the Dallas Stars. The Stars played a fantastic game in defeat, unfortunately, to the Nashville Predators, who I mentioned are on a good run. They sort of parlayed their a couple wins over the Detroit Red Wings and a couple over the Chicago Blackhawks, and came home and beat Dallas in OT 3-2. I'm going to look at the Stars to turn the tables on the Preds tonight. Short price on that one, minus 125, I believe. That's my play for this game. And hopefully we'll have Bryan Leonard with us tomorrow. He can tell us a story. Hey, listen, I'm just going to mention this quickly, Andrew. If we make it to Vegas this weekend, or not this weekend, if we make it to Vegas this summer, I'm hearing Las Vegas Chris, who puts out the occasional NHL hockey plays, is taking us out for dinner, all on his tab. So I'll find us a nice steakhouse.
You are a bold man, Carm. That sounds good to me. And I know that you'll be able to find the steakhouse. That's for sure. You'll be researching and find the right place for us to go. I had an absolute blast going out for a nice steak with Teddy Covers and Marco D'Angelo. Is a great time. My first time ever in Vegas, being shown around by all of them and going in studio and getting to meet much of the crew. And I hope to meet a lot more of the guys and also meet the Detroit crew as well. Can't wait for the next time, and hopefully when the world lets us, we'll all get together and do that. My best bet, guys, I actually was kind of debating it throughout the show, so I'm a little bit late, but here's what I want to give out, and it's been a kind of a promising angle here. It's the over 5 in that game that Carmine just talked about, Dallas-Nashville. I mean, look, people have talked about how there might have been some unders with these 5s, but it's been, those ones have been actually when there's been some movement, Carm. There's literally only been overs and pushes with 5s on the year. There's been some movement with these totals. So from 5.5 to 5, stuff like that. So look, I just look at this game and I think that Nashville's playing some pretty good hockey right now. And it's kind of abysmal to see how inconsistent this Dallas Stars team has been and the urgency level that I expect from them. They've dropped 3 straight to Nashville and Florida, and they played Tampa Bay. I mean, they've played some tough competition, man, throughout the past little while here. And with a 5 as a total, I expect to see some action here. I expect to see some goals here over 5. And you mentioned it, it is MLB, so that is the promo I will kind of give out and advertise. That promo, guys, first pitch, $200 off. Any handicappers, MLB season, both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. And I have a 3 package up at WagerTalk.com. It's my full package of totals and sides. I'm really looking forward to it. I love the first 5s, guys, the first 5 sides and totals, and a couple plays here on the day. Don't forget to watch First Pitch here today, guys. I watched yesterday's show. It was a great show hosted by Drew Martin. Great host on the show. Some great guests here lined up for today. Very valuable information at 5 o'clock here today on the WagerTalk TV network. Best bets are recapped. I'm on the Preds and Stars over 5. Carmine with the Stars minus 120. And Bryan bringing that plus money for us with the Wild plus 135. Carm, any last words for us?
No, listen, guys, we appreciate you guys always tuning into the show, smashing that like button. The amount of comments we see in the chat and then after the video is posted is fantastic. We try to get to you guys with any answers. We're not always going to agree with each other. The great thing is we can agree to disagree at times, which is great. And as you know, if you follow the Puck Time Wager Talk Twitter profile, I put up a contest yesterday gave away a Puck Time shirt. A last second goal that turned one person into a winner, while another guy was disappointed. I will try and do another one next week. Most of these shirts are going to our Detroit office and will be distributed by them, but I will try and get some stuff out. I love running these contests. I pay for these myself. This is out of my pocket, but I do it because I love you guys. So just keep hitting that smash button, watching this show, and supporting Andrew and I. We love it. Thanks, guys.
How wholesome is that? How genuine is my co-host, Carmine Bianco? Always a pleasure hosting a show with Carmine. On behalf of everybody part of this Wager Talk show, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy your Thursday. Enjoy your night. Best of luck. Power plays on the screen. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Wager Talk TV.
With a Wager Talk one-day Power Pass, you receive every play from every betting consultant for one full day at the ridiculously discounted price of just $149. What's better than spending the day watching and following a great slate of games? Watching, following, and winning those games. Get every Wager Talk expert and every game they release for that day.